Helps if I add myself to the stage. Hello and welcome to the You Run podcast. My name is Scott, and today we're going to be talking about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. But before we do that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell so next time we do a video, you know that it's live. Before we talk about A Nightmare on Elm Street 2010, let's talk about the original franchise. So, the original franchise headed up by Robert Englund in the lead role of Freddy Krueger. Now, Robert Englund defined this role, and the character became a horror icon, if not the biggest horror icon out of all of them. Yes, Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees and Pinhead and Candyman, they're all up there. But Freddy Krueger kind of stands head and shoulders above the rest because he hit a different level of fame. Not only did he appeal to horror fans, he appealed to the wider audience and he became this MTV generation horror icon. And I don't think there's many others that have achieved that. Maybe Chucky has also achieved that, but it's because he could deliver one-liners and he created a character that was evil, yet you found him funny. And that's a really hard balance to get right. And let's be honest, Michael Myers is never cracking a joke. You're never ever going to laugh at him. You're going to laugh at some of his masks, like the one from Halloween 4, but you're never going to laugh at him. Where Freddy will deliver a one-liner and you kind of go, I shouldn't be laughing at this, but I am. And this led to a very difficult reboot. So when you want to reboot a large franchise like A Nightmare on Elm Street or Halloween or whatever it may be, you are instantly on the back foot. And the reason for that is you need to appease the existing fan base, which for a movie like A Nightmare on Elm Street is borderline fanatical. And I am one of these fans. I am a huge fan of this franchise. And when you announce a reboot or a remake, people get very defensive. And you get people saying things like, there's only one Freddy Krueger. You can't replace this character. Why are you remaking this? Why are you not remaking something new? And I've got an entire series over on Voices with the You Run podcast, over on Angel's channel, Voices from the Mausoleum, where we talk all about remakes. I'm going to briefly touch on my take on remakes now before we really get into this. So remakes are not necessarily for the original audience. Yes, they want to pull the original audience in with them, but they are for a new audience and they bring a new life to a franchise and bring new audience members to it. And when you have a remake like this, new audience members will go and watch it. And this may be their Freddy. This may be their Freddy Krueger. They may have absolutely adored this movie, or they may have gone in and hated it and then gone to find out why it was remade, what was the original like, and they go and find the original, and it brings life to the franchise that otherwise would kind of drift into obscurity and wouldn't be getting the attention it does now. That's not always the case, but that's the general take on it. There's no such thing as a bad remake. Even a bad one brings attention to the original franchise, which brings us on to this. Is this a bad remake? It was panned by critics and by fans alike. And I was one of those people who panned this. Freddy from Wish, badly written. Like I slated it. I hated it when it came out. I went and watched this in the cinema. And when I come back, I absolutely could not stop complaining about how much it was not like the original. And I didn't watch it for a long time. I rewatched it recently, which is the reason we're here for this video, because it's actually a good movie. And I know you're going to find that hard to digest, some of you watching this, and I'm going to explain why it's good and what bits of it are good. I'm also going to talk about the things I think they've done that was wrong, but I'm gonna give this a second crack of the whip, and it's not as bad as you remember it. So this is a remake. It is a remake, but they go in with, you have an element of knowledge with this. So the opening scene is in the diner, and this opening scene is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. You've got the character who's trying to fight, falling asleep, and then he slips into the dream world, and you get the scene in the kitchen, and then like the kill here where he ends himself. He doesn't. Freddy does it, but you see him ending himself is like, wow, like it's so impactful and it hits really, really, really hard. And from that moment on, I was like, maybe I judged this too harshly. And there are some things they done badly in this. So there is something we know Freddy is. He definitely is in this movie because they outright say it. And in the original series, they only ever alluded to his behavior towards young children, and they never said it outright. And that's led to a lot of fans denying that that is the case, saying that he was a child killer, when we all know he wasn't just a child killer. Now, saying it out loud in this movie instantly put the backup of many, many fans, mine included, because I don't think it needs to be said. The insinuation is enough without saying it out loud. And I think that is one of the stumbling blocks of this movie. The other stumbling block is their reliance on digital effects over practical effects. So when you look at the original Nightmare on Elm Street and you get that scene where Freddy pushes up against the wall and comes through the wall, that looks fantastic because it was a sheet of latex spread across a canvas, and Robert Englund pushes into it and it looks awesome because it's real. When they recreated it in this movie and they use CGI, it looks dreadful. It looks so bad. And that is another thing they fall down on. As for Freddy himself, Jackie Earle Haley done a really good role, really good job. Really, really good job. He is a fantastic Freddy Krueger. He is a fantastic, evil, nasty, horrible, sinister dream demon. But he's not the MTV Freddy that everyone wanted to see. He is the epitome of evil, like the original movie. Freddy was nasty in the original movie, and Jackie Earle Haley took that as his inspiration, and he also made it his own. This is a very different take on Freddy to what we've had before, and I think he done a fantastic job. His mannerisms, his behavior, the way he delivers his lines, albeit some of them are atrocious, but the way he delivers those terribly written lines is great. He is a great Freddy. And if anything, he deserved a sequel that was better written. Give me a remake of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 with Jackie Earle Haley in the lead, and I am fully on board to watch that movie. The other thing they've done great in this is the micro naps, where they fall asleep and wake up, fall asleep and wake up, and they drift in and out of the dream world. This is such a cool concept. And had this movie been better received, I think that would have become something they would have incorporated into the franchise moving forward. It's such a clever idea. And probably one of the best examples of this is when the girl is being chased through the supermarket and she's backpedaling across the floor, and you've got all the people in the supermarket looking at her going, there's a crazy lady like crawling around on the floor and screaming, what's going on? And then you see what she's seeing, where you see Freddy coming towards, and it's flicking between the dream world and the real world. And honestly, it looks fantastic, and it is such a cool concept that is so unique to this movie. And it's shit on because people do not give this movie a chance. We also get to see the kind of full build up to like Burnless Freddy. I know we saw it in the original franchise, but we see it in this movie very much. We get some understanding of Freddy, and then we see the townspeople torch him. And again, I thought that was good. Like all of that stuff works. The casting's really good. The overall aesthetic is good. The set design is fabulous. The mask design has some issues, but that's a personal preference thing. He's a burn victim. He looks more like a burn victim in this than Freddy Krueger ever did. But again, it's that we're so attached to the original, we can't accept something that looks slightly different. Now, I'm going to go on a limb and say this is not a bad movie. It's not even the worst movie in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. It's not. And I would urge anyone who hates this movie, as I did, to go and rewatch it. Give it another shot. Give it another crack at the whip. And go in with an open mind. Don't go in with the, oh, this is a remake. Oh, Robert England. Oh, don't do that. Go in and just watch it for what it is. And I think you may have a different take on it because I definitely did. I am going to give this a score. This gets a 3 out of 5. It is above average. It is not a bad remake. It's not the best, but it's nowhere near as bad as we remember it. And I think there's so much nostalgia and love attached to the original franchise that people can't help but shit on something that's a remake of that. And I also think that we need to remember, for some people, this was their first experience with Freddy Krueger. I would argue a big portion of an entire generation, this was their first experience of Freddy Krueger. And those younger fans then went on and they found A Nightmare on Elm Street, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Dream Warriors, Dream Master, New Nightmare. And all of that came from this movie. So it's something that brings an entire audience to a franchise that I love. I can't hate it. It can't be that bad. If you want to hear me talk about more remakes, you can. So over on Voices from the that's the show I do with Angel here, Voices from the You Run podcast. Over on Voices from the Mausoleum, me and Angel have a series which is all about remakes, where we talk about the good, the bad, what we think is great about remakes, and when they get it wrong, we tear into the movies. But that's a great series to go and check out. So go and check that out as well. And at the end of this episode, there'll be a link to one of those episodes. Also, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And when I say comment, I want to know what you think of this movie. And I don't want you to just jump in with, I hate it, if you haven't watched it recently. Go and give it a rewatch and then come back and say, I rewatched it. This is how I felt. But that's it. It's a nice short one. As always, they are. When it's just me, they're nice and short because I don't want to ramble on and waste your day. Let me know what you think of this movie. Let me know what you think of the original series. Give me some comparisons of what you think they've done right and wrong. Also, I'm going to be back in a couple of weeks. I don't normally tell you what I'm doing, but I want to tell you about this. I'm going to be doing a recasting of A Nightmare on Elm Street. It's going to be the first of a new series where I recast movies for this modern generation. So I'm going to do a recast. I'm going to recast Freddy. I'm going to recast Nancy. So imagine we're getting a remake this year. We're not. I wish we were, but let's say we're not. I'm going to recast that movie as if I was the casting director. I'm going to put it out into the world and let you all say in the comments, there is only one Freddy Krueger, and it's Robert England. But until next time, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful week, and I will catch you next time.